Watch this video and find out why this wood is for the birds.
You can see this spalted wood, even though it's beautiful, look how much it tears out with a parting tool. What I didn't show is that I mounted this between centers and created a dovetail tenon there to fit on the chuck. I left out that step. If you got questions on how to do that, I can show you exactly how I do it. I normally like to take a log and make a wide dovetail on both sides and then just part that in half, and that way you get two chunks of wood that you can put in your chuck. So you kind of eliminates a step and you can get two projects out of that one step when you mount it between centers. Here I am just using a 40/40 grind bowl gouge to remove a lot of the mass and get the shape. What we're making here today is a bird. And this maple I actually cut down in my woods here in southern Ohio last winter about this time. So it was about a year ago, and it had no character to it, so I just left it up in the woods. I took some interesting pieces that had nice grain, but this was very boring. Left it up in the woods, and then I was up there this past September and saw that it had spalted. And so I grabbed a few of those pieces of maple and thought I could make something out of them. So this is one of the projects that I made. I think you've seen some trees that I've made out of it. So I'm just trying to get the shape here of the bird, and now I think I've switched over to my detail gouge. And look how I'm cutting on the left side, not on the tip. I'm on the wing there, and I'm making very small cuts here. I'm really focusing not so much on the shape at this point. I'm focusing on removing the amount of bark in the middle that I want to remove to make this look like a bird that has character. What I'm trying to do is remove just a little bit of the bark in one spot to kind of make that look like the breast of the bird. And then with the rest of the bark there will look kind of like the side wings of the bird. That's just kind of a style that I've kind of liked to do. So here I am just continually making small cuts. When I pause the lathe here, you can see that there's not much tear out at all now. So if you've got sharp tools and you are making slicing cuts, you remember how much tear out was there at the very beginning with the parting tool. Now you can see that if you're making slicing cuts, even if it's really pungy, punky, I don't know what the word is, somewhat rotted wood, right? You can still make nice smooth surfaces sometimes. I do see people ask sometimes about wood that is just really too far gone and you can put wood hardeners in and things, and I haven't done that. Cactus juice I think is one that people recommend. To me, there's enough good wood that's available that I'll never have time to turn, that I just kind of scrap that kind of wood, put it in my fire and use it for heat. So here I'm getting close. See that belly? That's where I want the belly right there. So I'm going to remove that little bit of bark so that I have the breast in that area. So that's kind of what I'm doing. So yeah, I've never tried the cactus juice. Comment if you have tried it and it works really well. I know I've had some pieces of wood that I thought was going to be a beautiful bowl, and it was just too far gone, I thought. And it don't matter if you sharpen your tools and make slicing cuts. Sometimes the wood is just too junky to turn a good product out of unless you do put some kind of hardener in. Here I am. I'm going to put the wood butter on. You can see there's the belly of the bird, at least how I designed it. And then the back there is going to be the tail end of the bird. And I'm just kind of buffing this in. Thanks again for all the support that I've got. I've got over 1,000 subscribers there right at the end of the year, so I do appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed, would appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. Let me know what kind of content you want to see. I'm always looking for ideas. If there's something that I show that you're just really not interested in, hey, comment, let me know. So I'd like to see less of this type of material, And of course, if you see a video you like, please comment and let me know that you want to see more content like that. You'll see me often here. I part down most of the way. Sometimes I'll part that all the way off, and other times I'll get a saw and cut it off. You use your technique that you find the most comfortable. If you watched my penguin video, you saw me make some beaks for the penguins. Here I'm going to use walnut. I changed my chuck jaws over to the spigot jaws here to hold some really small turning stock. And this is pretty much the exact same way that I made the beaks for the penguins. Nothing new here, just kind of deciding how big that I want to make this beak for this bird. This was a pretty big bird. It's probably almost as big as a softball, probably bigger than a baseball, so in between a baseball and a softball. So here I'm just kind of hesitant because I'm trying to see how big and what shape I want to make this beak, and really have no plan until I start. And then I'm just going to part this down to the size of the drill bit that I'm using, and I'm just kind of eyeballing this. I've made enough of them that I don't really need to use calipers or anything, but if you need to, use calipers. If you make it just a little bit big, you can sand it down by just putting it in a piece of sandpaper after you part it off, and just kind of rotate it in the sandpaper, and that will work. If you make it a little too small, you can just put a little super glue in and glue it into the hole, so that works. So there's where I'm going to have the front of the bird. See how the wings are on the side there? That's kind of the look that I wanted out of this bird. We'll put the beak in, nice tight fit. There's kind of what it's going to look like. Now we'll ask if anybody has any ideas on how to make tails. I do not like making these tails. I've made a few designs on the lathe that are more just round for smaller birds. That kind of works. I'll probably show you that in another video. But for these big birds, I kind of wanted a more massive tail, and I don't know what the easiest way is. So I just took some thin stock, used my coping saw there, kind of drew out what I want it to look like. And then I used a carving tool just to kind of grind it round, and just kind of, it took me a few minutes, you can kind of see. And I just left it rough, kind of looked like feathers. Put a little wax on it. And there's the final product. Should have wiped off the dust, but there it is. I think it looks pretty good. See that spalted maple? Did make a nice product.